Sensei came for Naginata seminar. We met in airport in Moscow. I changed my flight from St. Petersburg to Rostov-on-Don, the city of Russia. I came and said to Sensei desu ka? I said, oh yes, I'm Daria, I want to practice Naginata. And Sensei said, yes, good, okay, we will do it. Naginata kata and Tenryu Naginata, it's like art of martial art. Of course, yeah, it's martial, but kata and Tenryu Naginata, it's art for me, and I think reflect art part. I really like it.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Tokushikai Inside Look podcast. Today we're speaking with Daria Litunenko from Russia. Daria is one of the driving forces of Naginata in her region of the world, having introduced the art to her hometown of St. Petersburg and has since supported the growth of dojos in other cities around the country. In this wide-ranging conversation, we're introduced to the art of Naginata, explore its humble beginnings in Russia, and are provided a glimpse into a supportive global community. So without further ado, here's Daria Litunenko.
My name is Daria. I'm living in Russia, in St. Petersburg. I believe that's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. If you have opportunity to visit our city, please do it. So about my practice, martial arts. I started practice Kendo maybe 10 years ago. I wanted to do something, some martial arts, maybe karate or aikido, but I felt that I'm maybe too old to practice it, at first reason. And second, aikido, for example, you need to have so close contact with your opponent or partner. I was not sure that I wanted. And yes, I realized that in Kendo we can use bogu, and it gave me feeling that I'm safe. And of course we have distance, Shinai distance. It was okay. And I said, okay, yes, I will try. I want. So I started. And then I saw in YouTube some video on World Kendo Network, video from Kendo Shiai, and saw some video with Naginata. It looked so interesting for me. I started to ask it my friends and my sensei. Maybe we have in Russia some senseis who practice and teach Naginata, but no, it was no. I so wanted. I started to read and look in some information about Naginata and realized that kata is a very important part of Naginata. And because I so love Kendo kata, it was interesting for me too, because I can practice shiai and practice the kata in 50-50. It was good for me. Yes. In the same time, I saw that video and asked it about Naginata Sensei. We had to go to Finland for Kendo seminar. It was nearest country where living Naginata Sensei. And I asked permission to join for training. And they said, yes, okay, you're welcome. Two of my friends joined with me for this first practice, Naginata. We was very impressed by this martial arts. And when we came back to St. Petersburg, we decided to create a group for Naginata practice. Maybe we were crazy because we had only one Naginata and practiced it with stick from mop. And after that, made some small post in Naginata around the world. It's a group on Facebook. Maybe I wrote, hello, I'm Daria, I want to practice Naginata in Russia, blah, blah, blah. I'll be happy if you will help me. And few persons sent me a response that, yes, okay, we will help you. First was a young man from Germany. His name is Stefan Pavlitke. He's practicing Naginata in Berlin. And second, Katie Roach Sensei from New York. And we will start Naginata 6 years ago. It's a good experience for me.
Wow, you had to do a lot on your own. That's very impressive. I just want to quickly jump back to when you first was looking for a martial art. You listed a few, Aikido, Karate. Those are all Japanese martial arts. Is there a reason why you were looking around for something from Japan? Did you look at other cultures, other martial arts, or was there something about Japan that drew you to that culture, that martial art?
No. Karate and Aikido was very, very popular in Russia, of course, and first thought was about this martial arts. And I also studied Japanese language in St. Petersburg and had some interest for Japanese arts and artist. Yes, I like it. And decided, yes, of course, I can do something. Not paint, of course. I have not talent, and maybe I write not good, but I can practice martial arts, and I wanted to change something in my life. So I used to practice martial art, not art.
One thing that I skipped over in the beginning, because I don't have very much exposure to Naginata, you mentioned that because you started with Kendo, you already were familiar with a few things. So maybe you could just quickly give a primer on what are things that are similar between Kendo and Naginata and what are things that are different?
Similar, of course, we have points of strike. Men, kote, do, ski. And bobo looks similar, of course, but difference between kote and we have extra protection on our legs, of course, common, yes. But then is a difference. Body posture, because in Kendo you stand front and in Naginata we have this side. Yes. Techniques, of course, difference. Timing, balance of the body, of course, difference. Kendo, I think movement more faster than in Naginata, but I think Naginata is more effective in CI because we have a long distance, not so big amplitude as possible. If you would have reaction, of course you can strike your Kendo opponent faster and quicker and earlier than he move on his good distance for you. And of course, many Kendokas don't like Kendo kata. They study it only before examination. But I think it's very interesting. But in Naginata, we practice kata every training because it's a very important part of practice in martial art, I think. No depends what you practice, Naginata, Kendo, and something other. During practice kata, you can improve your shiai techniques. You can understand properly and better your body and understand distance for your opponent. I think it's very good. So we practice every training.
Kendo and Naginata are quite active martial arts. Did you have sports background or some other thing beforehand?
Yes. When I was a student, I spent 10 years in a swimming pool. Long time, and first time was not easy to stop practice because I go to university and studied a lot, so I stopped practice my swimming. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that you were watching some Kendo videos on Kendo World and that's where you found Naginata. How long were you doing Kendo by that time?
I practiced it 3 years, I think, before start practice after I started Kendo. I think it helped me to understand a little bit better if I started Naginata without experience in martial arts. Maybe a little bit similar, but of course difference, body movement, and of course Naginata changed from Shinai. But anyway, some maybe Budo principle, Reiho, yes, it helped me.
And then this Naginata practice that you had in Finland, that was part of the Kendo event?
No, it was after Kendo seminar. We stayed for Naginata practice. It was extra time.
Oh, so you were going there for the Kendo event and then you knew that there was a Naginata Sensei there? So you said, can we stay a little longer and practice with you? Oh, wow.
Yes. And after that, we went to Helsinki for Naginata practice to improve our skills, to check our mistakes. It was in November 2013. But in March 2014, I take a part in seminar with Sumi Sensei, both Sumi Sensei, Masatake and Kaoru. It was in Russia, and Sumi Kaoru Sensei came specially for Naginata seminar. We met in airport in Moscow. I changed my flight from St. Petersburg to Rostov-on-Don, the city of Russia. Yes, where coming Sumi Sensei for Kendo and Naginata seminar, and they came from Tokyo to Moscow, and we did fly together. I came and said to you are Sumi Sensei desu ka? I said, oh yes. I'm Daria, I want to practice Naginata. And Sumi Kaoru Sensei said, yes, good, okay. We will do it. And after this seminar with Sumi Sensei, she said she would like to help me for Naginata in Russia. And in August, she came for first Naginata seminar in St. Petersburg. And after she coming every year in August, unfortunately, not in this year.
That's amazing. So you purposely went to ask her to practice with you and then invited her to come back to Russia so you could
Yes.
get that instruction. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about who Sumi Sensei is. What is her experience? Where does she go and teach? You said she teaches Kendo and Naginata?
Sumi Kaoru Sensei, I think she practiced Naginata during last 55 years. Yes, her mother and her older sister is Naginata Hansi. She is Naginata Hansi too. I think she has no other choice, only Naginata. Yes.
What is she like outside of the dojo?
Outside, she likes sightseeing in St. Petersburg, and we visit other city and other interesting place. Yes, she likes to come to Russia.
Okay, let's go back to this study group that you had started on your own without any experience or any sensei. Can you tell me about those early days and how did you help develop more practitioners of Naginata in St. Petersburg?
Yes, we had some presentation on different sports events, and most part of these events, of course, it's Kendo seminar or maybe Kendo tournament and some special sport festival. But I can say we had success because our group still not too big, only 6 people. Some stopped practice Naginata, but some new join, but 6 as maximum 7. Not big, but we have Naginata group in other city too. In Moscow, few cities, so not so big as St. Petersburg or Moscow.
What do you attribute to the growth of Naginata in that part of Europe? Are there people locally running more seminars? Are there more visiting sensei coming over? How do you see it develop over the last 6 years?
It's easy to start now, much easier than before. Just need to go to dojo and say, I want to start, because we have now Naginata for practice, and we have some special stuff as Sune Ate, protector of leg, and maybe a few sets of bogu. If someone wants, of course, no problem, they come and start. Sumi Sensei presented for me 10 Naginata, and our sensei also presented Naginata for new practitioners, and some people coming to Japan to buy Naginata. Yes, it's an improved situation and give opportunity for other people to start Naginata, at least in St. Petersburg and Moscow, maybe Petersberg city on north part of Russia.
One of the things that you mentioned at the very beginning was that you had help from different countries. Like you said, someone from Germany reached out to you, a sensei from New York, and you had to also go to Finland. Could you maybe describe for each, maybe name a country that you know someone or you had interactions with, and then talk about how that person has helped develop Naginata in your area or with you or in Russia?
Okay, Stefan Pavlicki from Germany. When we started our practice Naginata, and he came to St. Petersburg in first time, I think he was Naginata EQ. Maybe his level was not so high, but his knowledge was enough for beginners like me and my student. He came and showed for for us some basics things. Reiho, how to put Naginata, those steps and body movements, and Kamai explained, because maybe one book, but practice and study martial arts only reading a book, it's impossible. It's not enough. So he explained for us very, very important things for beginners. Sensei from New York, he were Yondan, now she's Godan. I can ask her any questions, and she always explained something. And when she came for seminar with Sumi Sensei, she also did training for us. She stayed before seminar and after seminar, and we practiced it with her. Yes, it's of course her level was very high for us and very interesting. She is very interesting person. So not only training, also communication. I'm happy that she came, and we continue to communicate now. She visited St. Petersburg after this 2 times, I think. Yes, and we did meet in last year in the World Naginata Championship in Germany, and also continue our communication. Our sensei from Finland, Mari Pasanin Sensei, but she is from Japan. Her Japanese name is Mari Hayashi Sensei. She is Yondan. I think for me, it's not important, Yondan, Godan. I see that she very, very good sensei for me. She's a good person. She always tried to help for me. And before going to my Shodan examination in Naginata, I visited Helsinki and asked Mari Sensei check my mistakes. It helped, yes. And also interesting, go to other dojo, go to other country, practice with other people, because where we practice only with your student together, you can see your mistakes. Yes, it's very important to have opportunity, go not too far, only 500 kilometers, so it's okay by car, no problem. And she glad to meet with me and with my student. And Sumi Sensei, Sumi Kaoru Sensei, Naginata Hanshi. It's not easy to explain. She's amazing. I respect her so much. She really helped, not only her knowledge, as I said before, she present for us Naginata, she present for us Sune Ate. Many interesting things she explained, physical exercise, body movement, Kamai, just a big topic for explain. I can talk about her a long time. She's very, very, very interesting person.
Maybe we could stay on her for a little bit. If you can think back of the last couple of times she's visited, what were some interesting experiences or something that you learned specifically on that visit, or something that you remember having fun with her?
Yes, last time when she visited St. Petersburg, it was last August, she made competition, Naginata competition, to competition with kata and shiai competition. Yes, it was first experience for most part of participants from Russia, because we never did Naginata competition. We had not Shimpans, Naginata Shimpan in Russia. So I think it was interesting not only for me, but for them, because they can participate in shiai, of course. I have a good experience for Shimpaning in Naginata. It was very, very important for us. But one funny moment, 2 years ago, I had a birthday in seminars days. And Sumi Sensei always cooked some Japanese food for lunch. And she made my portrait from rice, and used also wakame hair and tomato for my lips. It was funny.
Well, that's so nice seeing another side. Like, you hear the word hanshi and you get intimidated, and then she comes and does a rice.
Yes, portrait from rice. Yes.
So you talked about these individuals from different countries. Now, maybe you could talk about your experiences going to other countries. Are there any memorable events, taikai, seminars? You talked about Finland. I don't know if you've been to other countries for these events, and what were they
Yes,
like?
a very memorable visit Naginata event was last year, World Naginata Championship. Russia now still has not international Naginata Federation membership, so we can take part only in goodwill tournament after official World Naginata Championship. But of course, it's very good opportunity for me and when my student joined to fight in such high level competition. Yes, we lost, of course, but it was just step. My favorite Naginata event in abroad is I can't say competition. No, it's a seminar in Bordeaux in France. I also visit there and meet with Naginata Sensei, but it's like a special event between Fukuoka and Bordeaux. And because these two cities has a special relationship and some cultures day, Japanese culture day is in Bordeaux in this case. Yes, it's interesting because I have opportunity there to practice Naginata and a meeting with my good friends from France and from other countries, from Belgium, and talking with the Japanese sensei, not only Naginata, but in Kendo. Yes, I like. And if I have opportunity to visit France in June, of course, I try to go there for this event. And maybe my good memories about big Naginata event, it's first European Naginata Championship where I can participate. It was in Belgium in 2016. Yes, it was first. I also take a part only in a goodwill tournament in Q group and lost in the final. Had only silver medal, but it's very good. It was good. I think it was first Russia participated. I think it's good for our history. And of course, I also visited USA for seminar and with Suni Sensei, of course, and with Katie Rush Sensei. Yes, it's also good. It's good.
So you've had all these experiences where you can see other countries, see other practitioners. Going on the same line of questioning, could you choose a country and then say, what did you see about practitioners there or sensei there or the way they organize their seminars? And what would you like to bring back to Russia to help raise the level of your country?
I think in most level Naginata skills in Europe. So I would like to invite sensei from Belgium and maybe number 2. Sorry guys, it's France. And of course I will invite sensei from France. If I will have money enough, of course I would like to invite Keiichiro Sensei from New York. But maybe it's number 1 for me. And always I will invite Suni Sensei from Japan.
Okay. What are you currently working on in your Naginata practice? What are you trying to improve? What are poor areas you want to get rid of? What are things that you're looking around and you say, I want to do better at?
I think when I started practice Naginata, understand better my center. Good for Kendo too. But I still practice the Kendo. I think because of this, I can do better my Naginata Shiai. Maybe a little bit quicker and faster than my partner who don't practice the Kendo. I think Kendo is more physical condition, but Naginata is more about body posture and keeping the center. But just my point of view.
There's also a common difference that a lot of people say is that based on the number of practitioners too, Kendo is more for men and Naginata is for women. What is your thinking around the men, women, Naginata Kendo, or just Naginata in general?
I think in Japan, most part of practitioners, it's women. But in Europe, maybe same women and men, maybe men more than women. It's in Europe. In America, I think also 50-50. But in Japan, yes, it's just historical. fact that Kendo practice more men, Naginata practice more women. It's tradition, but in Europe we have no tradition.
So your view is that there's nothing inherent in the art itself that makes it lean towards men or women. It's more, for Japan, it's more of just a tradition that women do it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at a couple of your photos from your martial arts day in a life Facebook challenge. And in that, they say no explanation. But in this podcast, I'm hoping you could explain a couple of the pictures. So I'm just going to talk about one, and maybe you can describe what's happening inside the picture. And then why did you choose to share it? So there's one where you're standing with a group of people up front. You're holding the Naginata up like this. You're in like a small space. Could you talk about what's happening there and why you think it's significant?
It was our second Naginata seminar in St. Petersburg. It was in May 2014 under leading of Stefan Pavlitke from Germany. And I nominate the sensei of dojo where we practiced Naginata at that time. He practiced many martial arts, not only from Japan, also from Philippines. I even can't count how much. So it's a very interesting person. Because of this, I posted this photo and nominated him for the challenge.
Okay, another picture there looks like a shiai is happening. It's in a large gym, a lot of people sitting around, or maybe it's a demonstration because people are just watching from the side.
Oh, yeah. It was last Russian Kendo Championship, and we made presentation of Naginata this time. My opponent in this ISUGI is Anna. She living in Moscow. She my good friend, and she also practiced Naginata and create Naginata group in Moscow.
For those that haven't seen this before, an ISUGI is a match between a Naginata practitioner and a Kendo practitioner.
Yeah.
Maybe you can talk a bit about that. What are the differences between this type of match and a match between Naginata versus Naginata or Kendo versus Kendo? Because this is a mix.
Because I can practice both Kendo and Naginata, of course I can practice from each side. But I prefer fight with Naginata versus Kendo. As I said before, because of long distance, and I keep my opponent distance, and at the moment to attack him, kote or maybe sune or tsuki, I prefer fight with Naginata. Of course, Kendoka can be much faster than me, and they can strike men before I can react. But it's usually, if you can see ISUGI from Japan, maybe from other country, Naginata being much often than Kendo. By sooner strike, it's easier.
Do you have any memorable times where you watched the match, and could you describe one of them?
Yes. I saw a few ISUGI from Fukuoka, where participate Sumikaoru Sensei, and of course when they participate in ISUGI in Fukuoka, Sumi Sensei's Kaoru fight against Sumi Sensei in Satake. Yes, it's favorite for everybody. And I tried to do ISUGI with Japanese Kendo Sensei in Bordeaux. This photo was taken in Bordeaux, but I think I won this ISUGI. But of course, it's not important, just a good opportunity to practice and for good mood for everybody. It was funny.
Yeah, it looks like something that would be fun, like a different thing than normal to play with. Yeah.
Yes.
Going down from day 3, maybe you can talk about what's happening in day 2. It looks like you're having a lot of fun.
Day 2, okay. It was my first international seminar in abroad. It was seminar at the International Naginata Seminar. A person, other woman in this photo, it's Katie Roche Sensei from New York, and man in glasses. He's from Israel. Just a little break. And some men take a photo.
So it's the first time seeing so many people from different countries doing that?
Yes. And we became, after this seminar, good friends. Of course, these events are very important, I think, for every sportsman because you can gain circle of your friends. Mm-hmm.
Especially during this time when you can't go out, you still have a connection to so many,
Yes.
when you can't see them. Have you been to Japan for Naginata?
Yes, twice.
Maybe you could talk about that experience, not just the practice part, but also what was your first trip like as a tourist, as a visitor?
Yes, first time I visited Japan 13 years ago, just for exhibition, for business, and second time I visited for study, for my job, and last 2 times was for Naginata. Of course, it's a difference. When you visit some country, other country as tourist, you can see maybe most popular sightseeing, other things. But when you visit country as student and maybe as friend and have homestay, maybe stay living not so far from your friends, of course, a different type of visit. You can see when people living in this country, you can see some good points and maybe some bad points. I think it's, for me, it's much interesting than just tourist visit. Yes, it's good because you can see country from other side. Maybe some stereotypes crushed, but I think it's good. It helps to understand country better.
Do you have any particular examples you can share that made you realize these things, something that you had an expectation for that was different when you actually was living there or staying there?
I think I expect maybe Japanese people will keep much bigger distance with me, but I was surprised because they're very kind and nice persons. But Sumi Sensei said, always see who stand in front of you. I think European people, Western people have many stereotypes about Japan, and maybe we can see not correct their behavior. I don't say that it's different too much from our expectation, but some action was very, very nice. I didn't expect it. But I think you can say it from about other country too. And I like when Sumi Sensei coming to Russia, and maybe not only from Japanese Sensei, also European, my European friends, when they visit Russia, they surprised because yes, we have no bears on the street. And we don't drink vodka every moment, but not only this. And I can help them to change some expectation about Russia and about Russian people. And I think they're also glad if I change my expectation, my stereotypes about their country.
On that note, what do you think that is true about Russian culture that helps people in Russia do martial arts? Is there something about people in Russia that has allowed you to succeed so quickly in such a short period of time, or aligns with this type of practice, you think, that makes it work?
I think trying to work hard. Because, for example, Kendo in Naginata, it's interesting for us, but it's not our tradition. And we need to understand tradition, we need to understand etiquette, we need to understand body movement, especially ki. It's very hard for I don't think only for Russian people, not easy to do ki. It's natural for Japanese people. I think maybe it's another one stereotypes. But anyway, Japanese culture is convenient for Japanese martial arts. And for them, it's very natural to practice and to understand quicker, and their body movement also look natural in Japanese martial arts. For us, yes, it's not easy because of this. We have to work harder than them. Also, we have not enough sensei from Japan who know and understands it better than me, for example, and for Russian Kendo sensei, of course. So it's a problem for us, and we always try to practice more and longer and read more than maybe Japanese practitioners, of course. And another one point, we start practice Japanese martial arts as adult person. And the Japanese people start practice as children. And for example, I practice Naginata 7 years, and I'm much older than 40 years now, 40 years old. But in Japan, if you are 40 years old and you start practice when you study in the school, you are Godan. I'm only second dan. So I want to do more before I become much older. It's not easy to explain it. My English is not enough good for this.
No, it's been very, very easy to understand. It's coming through very clearly how important it is for you to do the practice, how much it means to you. And that's a great thing to share. I think approaching the end of this interview, our audience is pretty broad. So there's a lot of people that do Kendo, Iaido, Kyudo, and some other martial arts. You're the first person, Naginata, so it's a good introduction to that. Thank you so much for doing this. Knowing that there's all these other people doing other martial arts, how would you describe Naginata that resonates with you? What is it about Naginata itself as a martial art that you think is unique?
For me, body movement is very beautiful. And now I also practice not only Atrashi Naginata, modern Naginata, I also try and practice Tenryu Naginata. It's one of two types of Naginata school, Tenryu and Zikishin Kagiryu Naginata. I think practicing Tenryu Naginata helped me to keep my body posture and improve my hanmi. Naginata kata and Tenryu Naginata, it's like art of martial art. Of course, Shia, it's martial, but kata and Tenryu Naginata, it's art for me. And I think reflect art part of Naginata. I really like it. Because of this, maybe I decided to practice and study and teach Naginata.
That's very cool, because it brings back to originally when you said your attraction to a lot of Japanese art. And in this case, while you can't paint and you can't write, you have this part of the art that you can pursue.
Yes, modern Kendo, for example, it's more about fighting, yes. It's interesting, of course, when you are young and maybe not too old. When you become older, of course, you can see other part of Kendo and maybe other part of Naginata. You can understand it maybe more as martial art, not as fight, only as fight. And I was old. I could see the art part of martial art.
Thank you so much. That's a great way to wrap this up. I know it's out of the ordinary, but I think you did a great job.
Thank you. And sorry for my English.
No, it was great. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you so much, Daria.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode because we have a lot more exciting conversations to share as we explore the world of the traditional Japanese martial arts. The Inside Look podcast is available on most common podcasting platforms and on YouTube. Remember to subscribe to not miss out on new interviews as they are posted. We're always looking for feedback to improve, so please write us a review or drop us a line at podcast@tokushikai.ca or on Facebook and Instagram at tokushikai.canada. Until next time, thanks for listening.